So on behalf of the NAACP and the African American Museum of Iowa, we want to thank you for coming out. We'd like to welcome you for being here. We believe that your presence will make a difference. We want to remind you of our goal to address the complex issues surrounding the achievement gap for Black and brown students within the Cedar Rapids Community School District, specifically dealing with the relationship between parental and community engagement and student success. So again, we want you to remember your presence does make a difference. And when you think about coming, always think about bringing somebody, especially some young folk and some parents that you might know. So we want to encourage you to do that. At this time, I'd like to introduce Adam Zimmerman as the moderator for the forum. So please give him some encouragement with a round of applause.
Like Dietrich said, my name is Adam Zimmerman. I work for the school district as part of the Culture Climate Transformation team. And I'm moving it over to support our middle schools next year. I'm excited to be here today. I think this is one of the most pertinent topics and issues that we have as a district and as a community to face. So I'm glad we're doing this together. We're going to get everyone's voices in the room to start. In front of you, you have cards. And they have, it says National Equity Project at the end, and at the top there should be a year. So little activity. Everyone has a card. Read the card to yourself, and then when I say go, to stand up and find the card. You're going to talk about the cards, describe it, talk about what feelings it gave you, what the card said, initial reactions. And you're going to find 5 partners. It's going to take about 10 minutes, I'll bring you back together. Any questions on the activity?
Can everyone hear Adam? Okay, you can hear him? Okay.
These are the cards.
That's the card. All right.
So, take it. Yep. Read the card. I'm calling this a card. It's on a piece of paper. Right?
That's fine.
Yep. Read it. Find a partner. Talk about it. When you're done, find 4 more partners to talk to about your cards, and then we'll bring it back together to have a discussion. Ready? Go.
Because we got right track. People are leaving, and if you don't have money to go to certain schools, you know, our kids struggle enough with peer pressure. So now there's an added peer pressure is that if I'm in the Richie school, then I have to wear what they wear, and I have to have what they have, or I'm not doing well. So African American students that end up in some of those schools like that, they struggle even more, you know, because not only are the district already messed up, and they're not teaching them through history, you know, they don't feel that they're even part of that, so they're trying to be part of something that they don't even understand, nor do the other students that are in that understand. You know, that's why you have people like we just seen, and the cases going on with the colleges where people are paying for the kids to get into school, and they don't belong.
Right. Okay. I disagree with some of that because I'm glad George Washington Carver didn't feel that way. I'm glad that Harry Tubman but I don't think that's true. I don't think there's such a thing as white flight. There's more of a mindset. It's a mindset. That our ancestors who were slaves, who made it, were strong. Harry Tubman, George Washington Carver, and you go back. So we can't use that argument today. They were always, there's strength in the struggle. There's strength in diaspora. There was strength for the Egyptology and the Egyptians in our history. You can always look at the low level, but it was a high expectation. My mother who raised 14 of us. She said, you can always do better. She didn't go low in me. She said, knock that off. Because Mama, they don't like me. Knock that off. Mama, they talking about me. Knock that off. They're putting me in a remedial room. Knock that off. She said, you got to learn what you got to learn. When you go to Hy-Vee or Walmart, is there a black Walmart or a black Hy-Vee? Is there a white pharmacy store or a emergency school that you go to? When you go to emergency school, you get out of the car and ask them, if you don't ask who's going to We could just get in an emergency room. How foolish is that? It's a mindset. And if you perpetuate this ignorance, that's what carries them. Then the kids see for themselves. So I push for strong education with people with high degrees, and from good teachers, you get a high education, but from a bad teacher. That's the bottom line. I just watched this program in Saudi Arabia, and they were talking about their kids, how can they go to Saudi Arabia? He said, number one, get a degree. Number two, get a degree. Number three, get a job. And then they said, go to real life situations. Go to the pharmacy. Go to the police department. Go to the engineers. Go to places where people are successful. That's how you get it done. You don't go to the next generation and another 100 years we sit in this room talking about we shall overcome. Nonsense. We've had a president of the United States, Barack Obama, from two families of diversity. Nonsense. If you got a bad teacher, get rid of it. You got a bad school, fix it. Lastly, Rockville, where I came from, the federal government to the school district board. I told Mr. Evans, we don't want that in Cedar Rapids. What are you talking about, man? Then he realized the federal government, not Mississippi, not Alabama, over Rockville, Illinois, 90 miles north of Chicago. The schools were segregated in Rockville, Illinois. Covertly. It was quiet. It wasn't big signs. But they had to fix it. And they did fix it. And we can go here. We've got great educational institutions in Cedar Rapids. We've got great teachers. We've got great motivators. And we have programs like the Academy, which should be spread out through every academic medium in our school district, so we don't have to have a separate program to do what we should already do. I'm done.
Dr. Melver, thank you.
Ask them to stand up when they talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have two comments. The quote they had was I agree, it's on mindset, but it's mindset in both ways. We have sown into our educational system this notion that people of color can't achieve. I mean, I actually had a education psych class by Thorndike. She's the great granddaughter of the guy who invented testing, IQ testing. And she literally stood in our class and said, oh, I believe ability is fixed. This was like in, what, 1998, 1999? And her notion was, if you came from a junior college, you're not going to be successful in my class because you don't have this skill set. What? It didn't matter how much you worked, how much you tried. She had that fixed in her mind, and my grade reflected it. And so we've sown that into our educational system that some people just aren't going to, or some people just can't. But I also agree that we as a people have also kind of adopted that notion. As a high-performing student, I always got tagged by other kids, other black kids who look like me. Oh, you think you're better than that. You think you're this. You think you're that. I'm just trying to survive. And I come from, thankfully, I come from a history of people who are educated, who have had the ability to read and write hundreds of years ago. And that is what's been saving me. But if I talk about that, if I put that out there, then I think I'm better than other people, and I don't. But I do think that we have the ability, and I agree, we have the ability, particularly in the state of Iowa, where we have the educational capital, we have the intellectual capital, we have the social capital to get ourselves together. But we all have to go in that one direction together. And it can't be white and black, it can't be poor and rich, it has to be together. I see it in my own school. We have a school that is segregated within our school. Our AP kids are white and middle class, our remedial kids, our behavioral kids are black and poor. That shouldn't happen in 2019, but it does. And we say, well, not everyone can go to college. Who gives us, anybody, the right to choose who does and who doesn't?
Sam just introduced himself.
Originally, I was going to go off the car. I'm going to speak like what you guys
Use the mic. There's some old folks here, can't hear, can't hear. You can't hear.
I always get to use the mic with everyone. So, you're talking about mindset. and how we can just like fix things, and how like you have to have a certain mindset that there is no like pushing like. You just have to have a certain mindset. But like, I've been to Wash, and in my opinion, Wash is the best high school we have here. But at the same time, like Dr. Nyberg said, there's a segregation within it. Like with the AP classes, I'm the only black person in AP classes ever. I've never been to a AP class and not been one black person. I've seen one black person and one Asian person. That's it. Everybody else is white. So there is, and then I've talked to a lot of the people who aren't doing so well in school, and it's a lot of it's ignorance. For example, I'll give you an example as like of the ignorance. Like we have brothers and brothers at Wash, and we were talking about this, but there was a nice white lady. She was old. She was walking down the hall. She supports. Like, you know, she supports Wash and the Brothers and Brothers movement. And so she's walking down, and there's these group of kids skipping class in the hallway being loud. She walks up to them, she asks them, hey, could you guys please be quiet and go to your class? The lady, excuse my language, the lady looks at her and tells her, shut the fuck up talking to me, bitch. Straight to her face. So, while we do need to work together as a community, we also need to find a way to just like help the people who are ignorant. And what I mean by that is, just because people are ignorant doesn't mean there's no reason for that. So a lot of the people in our school are coming from different backgrounds of pain, and you know, are dealing with things that are not the best of situations. So as far as like what I've seen is there's a lot of people who are struggling in classes. And there are a lot of people who want to do better, but there's also a lot of people who don't because of their situation and how they feel, that mindset that they've been in, that they don't want to. They just want to, you know, be there, act up with their friends, don't care about anything. Also, I mean, not only from the student perspective, I've had plenty of students walk up to me when they tried to ask their math teachers, their science teachers at Wash, and the math teacher and science teacher will tell them, oh, you're not ready for that. I don't think you can do that. Maybe you should wait back on that. And these are students who I know who have been trying to get into AP classes who couldn't because their teachers wouldn't recommend it. And so it's not only on the students, it's on the teachers as well. These teachers are in the mindset to where people can't change, people can't do better. They don't want to challenge their students. And so it's all around. We just need a change, and we don't need we need something to open up mindsets. I don't feel like we need mindsets. We just need people to recognize change.
We'll take one more comment, and I do want to make sure we're getting to the next part. Go ahead, sir.
I think a big part of what we're forgetting there is that a lot of the education starts at home. Our education doesn't just end in school. So when you get your kids home, if we're talking about history or anything like that, whatever is not in that history book that you know about and that you can find for your children, to make them understand what path we've been on, where we're going, and where we can go. And it's not just for black kids or white kids or anything like that. It's just knowing what's happened in this world and knowing the truth. The truth is not being spoken a lot of times. And that's where the problems come in. And when you know the truth, then there's always a light. So, I mean, the light comes on for the kids, the light comes on, and you have better prospects of unity. I see it every day at our gym. So it's something that everybody from different diversity is at our gym, and everybody is working together. The whole thing is that people are forgetting to educate at home too. That's a big part.
And not supporting teachers either.
Yeah. That's all I have.
So thank you for the comments. This brings up a lot. I think that what everyone agreed upon was that our history informs our present. And you guys spoke much more eloquent than I ever could about this, but it's the system that we need to focus on. So any system produces what it was designed to produce. The objective of this group moving forward is to help fix that system and put the things in place as a community that are needed to see the outcomes change. So hopefully we can keep that at the forefront of the discussion. So we've done a lot of work so far. We started in February, and we are into August. So we want to just remind people where we've been before we dive into the work today. So, June, sorry. So in February, we kicked it off. We identified barriers, and we said we as a community need to do something. We have the right people at the table, and we need to bring more folks to the conversation. In April, we said, what are the schools that we're going to focus on? We can't get them all, but we really want to hone our focus, so we picked 4. In May, we had a principal panel where those 4 principals came together and said, this is what our vision is. Give us feedback. And the whole time, we're taking notes, we're gathering the information that the conversation says. And then today, in June, what we have in front of you now is the result of all that work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about 40 minutes, depending on how long it takes us, and we want a round of feedback on our first draft of a vision, beliefs, and needs statement document here in front of you. Yep, I'll hold it. 1 second. And then after that, we will do a student panel where we'll say, okay, given that the students are actually experiencing the schools and in this conversation, we'll give their voices to the table as well. So we'll jump right into, Jonathan and Washington. So we'll jump in front of you. You should have it says not without me, vision, need, and planning document. And then you have a trainings, ponder, and policy. In your table groups, read the document. And then what are the things that we like about this document? What are the things that we have questions about? And what are the things that we need improvement? And record your thoughts in the 3 columns. Any questions? All right, we'll come back together in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's...
So there was lots of good conversation.
One of the big questions that we've gotten throughout this whole process is, what are the outcomes of this group going to be and how are they different? So I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but this document we hope can survive past this group to say a group of 120 to 180 community members came together this year and said, this is what we need, right? And this is what we believe in and what our vision for community engagement looks like. So this is one of those fundamental documents that we hope is a product of our work together. So your voices matter. We want to raise those voices and make sure that this document articulates what we're actually thinking and talking about. The second part is that we're going to incorporate family engagement and community engagement in those 4 school improvement plans for next year. And that's going to look a little different, but those leaders are thinking hard about what solutions would work in their context to better do the work that we've articulated here. So that's thinking ahead past our last 2 or 3 times together. That's the work we're trying to do. So this document is wildly important to continue that work. So with that, what were questions? What'd you like? What you didn't like? We'll share out, and then we'll hear from our students. Yeah.
I like that.
Please stand when you speak. Thank you.
I like that you're actually putting a plan for action. Questions to ponder is, what if the family is not involved? What course of action do you have to because you see the legal system and the family, you can't get the family members to do on the center. One center, everything legal system is reaction, not proactive. Yep. So, what plan in place? And then the policy, the one thing I noticed in my law and the whole general thing was there was no addressing expectations. Yeah. You know, if we don't expect our children and let them know that that also shows we have no belief in them also. Sure. So I go to the mindset of what was said earlier, and that is, I don't care if you're rich, black, or poor. If you're coming from a school and you're in AP class, your expectation should still be you're going to surpass and you're going to get there, and there should be curriculum that's waiting for those students to get past it. If you're coming in as an under average student, your expectation is to get to an AP student. And everybody should know that in the perspective of school and home. Can't always get everybody on the same page with the professionals, need to be at least on the same page.
Sure.
It's the expectations, the biggest thing that is not.
So and as I took your feedback, I'm depending on you guys to write this down, so I will collect all of the feedback cards so we can make sure that's integrated. Other piece of feedback.
Just really quick,
Stand again, stand again.
for both sides, expectations. I think it's awesome to have, like, I think that's really super important to have the expectations for the children as they accomplish something, to have something beyond that they're expected to start trying and striving for. And I think that needs to be something that as like educators, parents, and everybody else probably should have as a plan too. Like more that we can do. And like some type of like positive reinforcement plan. Because I think the negative stuff kids hear so much is like, when do we ever focus on the positive reinforcements? Even when you have a child that does something good all the time, they don't get always the positive reinforcement when they continue doing good things. And then when you have kids that have a bad record, it's like, well, that was what you're expected to do, so why do you want a cookie for that? And I don't like that kind of attitude. I think the positive reinforcement is what they have to come back and want more of. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Other feedback.
I tried to get one of the kids to speak, but they didn't want to do it. But that's okay, we had a good conversation. So, under belief, we really praised that and felt like that was solid. But number 3, it doesn't say, it says intentionally built and maintained. But then we had the question of, are the families and educators willing to pay what it costs to engage and press through the no's to get to the yes? Because a lot of educators will stop attempting to call parents if they don't respond in a couple times. And I know I know you're busy and you got other things to do, you got lesson plans. But if that child really needs the help, if you can't call, get somebody else to keep calling to get that family engaged. I know it ain't easy, really. But anyway, we just thought that needs some working on. That's what the kids said. And then on number 4, I like what you talked about, the outcomes and results. But on number 4, under the definition, we thought number 1 could be polished. And then there was some question about number 3 in really trying to decide who really has the power and how do we get to where there is a balance of power, because it felt like the educators had all the power, and actually separating out families and community members, that's kind of like family is community member, and those supports that are built in community helps everybody to be able to better advocate for their children, encourage them, because I believe the teachers really need some praise.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, we can't come down on them all the time. We've got to give them some praise because they are attempting to do it. You know, I'm going to sit down.
No, I heard a lot of conversation about that balance of power piece, though. So that might be something we need to come back and look at and better define. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed exactly what you said about number 4 in the definition, but that was one that seems to me it could go both ways. Perhaps families and maybe the community also need to re-examine their assumptions about educators.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about educators and what they are. And I think that needs to happen too.
Can I say something else real quick? Okay, so speaking on all of that you guys are saying, to me, and what we are really into over here is creating these programs and getting everybody organized in the programs so that our community is doing the job of reaching the parents and making parents get involved with their children. Our community is involved in getting children engaged. Our community is involved in teaching children discipline and respect and and wanting to go out and get this stuff done, because honest to God, the teachers are supposed to be teaching. They're not supposed to be chasing everybody down and having to do all of this constructual work to make them to be able to get an education. We got to start that somewhere so that the teachers can focus on what they need to be doing. Because when they are spending so much time doing they're trying to chase somebody down to make phone calls and stuff like that. I mean, we're just creating this bigger web in an already huge web we have in the educational system, when this is like the community needs to get down to the dirty work and start caring about our neighbors. Stop judging your neighbors for where they've been or where they came from and how they're raising their children, and start raising them together again. And we were just talking about how, where does it come from where parents don't want people in their business? It's because they feel judged. They feel like they're being forced to pay for mistakes that they didn't even know they were making in the first place. You know what I mean? And so it's time to just stop judging them and support them and be there. Yes, yes.
Kelly, and then we'll go back down.
So listening to your comments about balancing the power structure that exists currently in our systems and our kids' education, and then your comments about the community. At Hoover, we're adopting the community school model, and that's what this is all about.
Awesome.
It's about having a group, engaging our students, our parents, our community members, our businesses, our organizations, the educators, and bringing us all together to do needs-based assessments to figure out what are the greatest barriers to accomplishing and what we need our students to be, and not just academically, but the whole child. Right. Because we know that in order for a child to be ready to learn, they need to have Maslow law things all met. And they need to be socially, emotionally ready. They need to have their bellies full. Like, we know that is so important. And so, in addition to that, we have like a board of people that will come together to make decisions based on that needs-based assessment about where are we going next. And that board includes parents, community organizations, students, educators. So that's everyone coming together. This model has been rolled out in many parts across the country. They're seeing outstanding results. They're seeing increased involvement of parents at the middle school and the high school level, which we consistently hear, well, you can't get them in at those levels, only the elementary school levels. Like, that's important. And also, in addition to that, the piece of culturally relevance and positive behavior, looking at restorative practices, those are things that we're starting to really dive into at Hoover. And we have people coming from the National Education Association to come work with us on our fact that our educators, we have implicit biases and microaggressions and stereotypes that are impacting the learning opportunities and the way we deal with behaviors in our buildings. We have to address that. We can no longer say, well, it's just the child, this is no, it's not. We have to look at what are we doing as educators. And that's the work that we're starting to do through the community school model at Hoover.
That's really good work. I am going to drive us back to the document. Thank you, Kelly. That was great. Can we come back to the document? Feedback on the document so we have a tangible product. Yeah, of course.
Why aren't we all doing what she's saying? Why is Sandy already?
Yeah.
Analyze that and everyone else
In the community.
Please stand up when you talk, please. Thank you.
Why is her school the only school doing it? What sense is that? They're not.
I think we're looking at what that's going to look like. And I know that Kim and others have been helping with that process.
So my comment was kind of like what she was saying, is that there's not an explication of how we create those structures for providing those kinds of services, those wraparound services within our schools, because they are badly needed. And to blame one faction or another for not communicating or for whatever doesn't hold all of us accountable, that these are all of our kids. And the fact is, some of our kids are more undersourced than others, and we need to be able to balance that.
Yeah. I think it's a great question. And let's come back to the document so we can we're going to go like this and we're going to run out of time.
But that's what I'm saying, the document doesn't say. We need to create.
Yeah, let's get that down so we can make sure that we have that included. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, thank you. 1, 2, and then we'll come to 3.
All right. So the phrase, this is great. I mean, I'm so glad that I came today. I ponder why there's nothing about wellness and get into the program, because wellness is so much more than just being physically fit, or it's about your mental health, it's about your spiritual growth, it's about everything. Wellness is missing in our whole community as a community. Like, if we were well as a community, we wouldn't have to be here, right? That's how it works. So I think that's the thing I ponder is, why are we not addressing wellness and not just our students, but our community first? Because that's and why is that not implemented in any, like, any, I don't know, do you guys have wellness classes or anything? I don't know. Do they have wellness classes? Okay, well, and then the polish, I think that the biggest problem with trying to reach kids is you can't hold them accountable if they can't get there, right? So transportation is something that we need to polish for any kind of program, because one, if you know somebody's going to be there to pick you up and hold you accountable, you can't say, oh, I couldn't go, I didn't have a way, right? If you take care of that need, you take care of a lot of needs right out the gate.
Thank you. We're going to take two more, and then let's get the time mark. So we have student voice, and then back here.
So what really got my attention was definition 4. More of the educator's assumptions to the family. When I was in elementary school, I had ADHD and nobody really understood what that was back then. So it was always a reflection of the teacher thinking, oh, his mom clearly doesn't know how to discipline him enough because he keeps acting up in class. If you think my mom can't exactly discipline me and show me how to act, why don't you do something about that? Why don't you help me act right in class? So I was probably one of the smartest kids in the class, and you're just gonna turn your back on me and let me act up and get sent home every day? And then that ties back into definition 2, building a trusting relationship with the families and educators. You know?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Our last comment, I do want everyone to make sure that, I know we have more. We'll come back here for the last comment. Make sure that all these thoughts are written down. We do want to incorporate them. We're going to bring it back next time. We don't want these conversations to get lost. Please.
We had a couple of things brought up. The first one is the vision statement where it says our vision. The question was, who is our? Whose vision is it? And there was comment about that there should be an inclusion of educators to effectively partner with educators, families, and community members to make it more holistic. And also, I think that there needs to be, for needs, that there should be a current assessment so that there should be assessment here in terms of the whole planning document so that you can understand what the current reality is. Because maybe some of the things that you're trying to change, improve, or transform, that if the assessment says, well, no, that doesn't need to be changed or improved, that you probably are either duplicating efforts or wasting efforts in places where you're not, where there needs to be.
Thank you. Last word.
Can you hear me? I had my hand on also. Now, what we focused on really was number 2. We believe we must focus on specific challenges and population of students and families. Because we need to get to know the family as well as the children. We talk about an example. For instance, when a coach wants somebody to play on their team, that coach will go to their family's home. They will get to know them, because it's true. Why if we can't go to the family as educators, to be able to talk to those families, like that young man said. Why would somebody help his parent with him? That would be one of my son's friends. That's real. So that's what I'm saying is we need to meet them where they're at. Okay, I know that sounds like Jesus, but it is. But we need to be able to meet them where they're at. Because you got some families that maybe they're not very well educated, maybe they don't speak very well good English or whatever, And not only would that help, with the communication with the families, But that also says, when that says up there, now they want to pray. Because the child will begin to see that you care. You know, more than just for the hours during school, you know, when they get sent home and kicked out and sent to the office or whatever, you know, we don't want to act, you know. They need to know that they care. Because if we don't teach those kids that we care, guess what? The games will teach them.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do a brief transition here. Thank you for your feedback. We're going to be coming around to collect the forms. The one push I would have for the group is that we had 3 subcommittee groups. We had 3 subcommittee groups meet, and they're still looking for participants. So please get out to those schools, McKinley, Wash, and Please show up. We have 1 person show up from this room. We'll bring everyone back together in 5 subcommittee meetings to happen. I know it's late timing. Please show up. We could grab Coversations up, please. I know. Yeah, we'll email out all of the next subcommittees for that. So we're going to transition into the student panel. Yeah. We have 5 questions, and we're going to let the kids introduce themselves here first. Hopefully, at the end of this, we can have a conversation of questions you have of them and what their needs are. So I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to ask questions, then we'll let each respond, or however you see fit. Okay? So. So we have about 25 minutes for the conversation. All right, so we're doing introductions first. We have middle school and high school students, which is exciting. So let's start with Marquise.
Well, as he just said, my name is Marquise Sneed, and I go to Washington High School.
My name is Donovan Yagno. I go to Kennedy High School.
My name is Chase Cunningham. I go to McKinley Middle School. Yeah.
My name is Paris McNutt, and I go to Washington High School.
All right, so we're going to start with the first question. We're going to get just an outline of the questions you have on your table. But we're going to have the kids outline their passions, what they're really interested in, what works in terms of support, what challenges they have, and then we're going to get their view on how we can better engage their parents. So, first question, what are your passions? What are you interested in?
Well, for me, I've always had a plan in life. Since I was in elementary school, I've always wanted to be some type of engineer. First I was an architect, then it was like a chemical engineer because I thought nuclear power plants are pretty cool. But as of now, for a while now, it's been aerospace engineering. I've always loved like spaceships and planes. I think aerodynamics is amazing. So as far as my passions, it would just be going to college and then getting an aerospace degree and going on from there.
Well, for like 9 years now, I really wanted to play football, and I want to play the NFL. And my 3 most passionate things I would say is sports, music, and self-image. And athletics, I think, give everybody an outlet to whatever is going on in their life. And it kind of gives you a family, no matter what sport it is. You have teammates, you have coaches, you have people that you can trust. Music, I think, is something to keep everybody emotionally stable. So I feel like it can keep certain people calm, certain people happy, certain people however they need to express their feelings. And then self-image, I think what I want is when you see somebody like me, instead of clutching your purse or tensing your body, you think that this person might be intelligent and intellectual. They might I want someone to believe that students, and specifically black students, are difference makers.
My humongous passions are video games and sports. Both my families do both.
So I'm passionate about cheerleading. I'm actually on varsity, and I'm also passionate about writing, but mostly journalism. I write for my school newspaper, and I'm actually editor-in-chief next year, so that really keeps me going. And then I'm really passionate about helping out around the school. I'm also secretary of Student Senate, and I love finding ways to improve the school and to make it a better place for everyone.
All right, so we'll put these two questions together. Who are your biggest supporters at school, and why? And then what are some of your challenges?
If you put them both, that's like really complicated. But for me, I'll just give you like my top two. So first, number one is my mom. I've been fortunate enough for my mom to be my top supporter. She's the one who always has pushed me to do everything. She checks my grades every week. She's always on top of me about everything. And while it is annoying sometimes when you have a bad grade, you know, in the long run it helps because you just have somebody who's there to always reinforce you, make sure you're going on the right path. Second, obviously, would be Dr. White. Before I met her, I haven't had any of the opportunities that I had. Like, if I didn't meet Dr. White, I probably wouldn't have been here in the first place. When I went to the academy last year, or further that, when I did, I had a Black Privilege or Black Lives Matter symposium at Wash last year. And that's when I met Dr. White for the first time. And she handed me a packet or like a pamphlet for the academy. I joined the academy that year, and since then I've had like multiple opportunities, like going to the White Privilege Conference, going to the White Privilege Symposium. Like we go to like multiple different like speakers and stuff like that. So as far as my school base, or going back to school, she's always, like, we have monthly meetings that I haven't always been to because I'm busy, I have tests and stuff. But like, we have school-based, or we have like school meetings once a month, or like once every 3 weeks. And in those, you know, we go over grades, we go over opportunities, stuff like that. So like, we're always staying on track of, you know, our school stuff. So those would be my top two supporters.
Out of school, I would say are my parents definitely, because even though they can't help me with math ever, they try to understand what I'm doing. But yeah, I can see that they always, whenever I come home and I'm like, oh, today I had a great day. In class I finished my final with a 29 out of 30. And they always applaud me and kind of show me that they like are proud of me. And in school, I would say are my coaches and my counselor, Mrs. Thomas, because she always kind of, when I met her, she took the time to listen to me about my thoughts and what I want to do in school and out of school. And my coaches always push me to be a better brother, teammate, anything, family member, student, athlete, all that. So and it kind of just shows that no matter what, they want you to do your best.
Let's do challenges. Big challenge.
My biggest challenge in school is my work, because most of the teachers don't think that the work I do is mine. They think that it doesn't matter, usually in language arts or math or science, they don't believe that what I put down on the paper is really mine. They always ask me if I got it from a book or if I got it from an article, and I tell them no, but I don't know if it's because I'm a student and my work is good, or because I'm a black student my work is good, which is the truth. Because I highly doubt, and I'm not trying to always make it a racial injustice, but I highly doubt that if a white student put the same thing that I put down, they wouldn't ask him any questions.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot to do challenges. The challenges I've always experienced in school, and I talked about this earlier, is like I said, I've always been the only black person. I mean that for like 100%. I've always been the only black person in an advanced class. I've taken multiple AP classes now, and like I said, I've always been the number one in that. And the biggest challenge that's for that, oh my God, the biggest challenge that for me with that is like sometimes you just always feel a disconnect in the classroom. Sometimes you just always feel a disconnect with the teachers, and you feel like the teacher, like, not necessarily that they hate you, just that they're not there to support you and see you succeed. And so as far as some challenges that I've experienced in school, I'll probably be the number one. As far as how you've addressed it, it's just like, it's all, in my opinion, it's all communication with the teacher. You have to build that relationship yourself. Because sometimes, like, you know, when you don't have the majority skin color, you have to, you know, work for it. You have to do it yourself. It doesn't just come to you like it comes to them. So the way I've addressed it, I've always just like, you know, spoke out to my teachers, made sure I was there and I was visible.
Good job, baby.
So my two biggest school-based supporters are my dad, because whenever I get my grades down, he notices, so he's bringing it back up, and that's how I'm getting past my grades. And then another one from my school is one of my teachers. She's an LA teacher. Her name is Miss Nahanovich. She showed me who I really am, and that's like one of my challenges. I'd have to say. I can't think of any challenges right now.
So my two biggest school supporters at home is probably my dad. He always helps me with my schoolwork and he pushes me to do my best. And he always gets a notification every time my grades are updated, so he just knows like when something's up or something's wrong. And he's also pushed me to be more passionate about going to college because he was very passionate about his college experience. And then at school, I would say my biggest supporters are probably our student senate advisor, Ms. Derrick. She will go the extra mile to make sure that I'm doing okay. She notices when something's wrong. And a challenge that I've experienced within school is probably balancing my mental health problems and my schoolwork. And it's some teachers don't understand that mental health is really important and that some students can't take on heavy workloads because they might have depression, ADHD, anxiety, something like that, and they can be afraid to ask for help or get the help that they need. And I just think it's really important if teachers, you know, focus more on that, and because if they do, it can make a big difference in their students' life.
Thank you guys for sharing. So the next question is around parental engagement. If the school district or your school in particular could do one thing to better engage your parents, what would that be?
Email. Now I know, like, as far as me at Wash and my parents, I know my parents get like basic emails, but like my mom never knows when any events are happening. She doesn't get notified of that stuff. Like whenever we have a forum or a speaker showing up or assembly, she doesn't get notified of that. And the number one thing she checks is her email. And so I would assume that a lot of other people check their email frequently as well. And so I think the number one thing that we could do with just parental involvement is to contact them. If you have the email, if you have the number, use it. Because it's no good at just sitting there and being wasteful and not doing anything. So I think the number one way we can get parents involved is just to notify, because my parents do get notified, but whenever they get notified, like the only time my mom's ever talked to me about something going on in school is when there's a fight happened or a leak and something dangerous or something that just happened that happened to go wrong. So as far as like the positive things and like the opportunities and the events, the parents need to get notified via email, phone, whatever you have.
It kind of scares me to my parents getting involved in my school and because I'm not always the best student, so like that's the truth. But I would say definitely emailing them, or not always email, but like texting them, calling them, getting in contact with them. I would recommend voice contact instead of a text message or email, because my mom has like 3,000 emails, so there's no way that you're gonna be able to pick out that one. But they don't, like, teachers always expect you to fix it, just you going to your parents and being able to fix a problem. But like, not every student is able to converse with their parents as others are, because not every student has the same relationship with their parents as everybody else. So I think a teacher being able to contact a parent and being like, what do you think part of the issue is, would help a lot than just a student trying to figure it out on their own.
Like the school going up to the parents, asking if they're doing what they need to be doing with the kids, helping with reading, their education, for homework, basically, yeah.
So one thing that they can do is definitely getting parents more involved in PTA. Typically, I only see the same group of people being part of PTA. It's usually they're white and they're wealthy, and they're the only ones contributing to the school. And we need to get more parents at different economic levels, different races, ethnicities, and like there needs to be more differences and parents becoming more involved in the school. So with like that being said, hold on, I lost my thought, I'm sorry. I just, even if a parents have enough money, they can still contribute to the school in like little ways, and it can make a big difference, and not many people know that.
So I'm getting a sign that we're at time for the student panel. Can we give it up for these amazing students? These are the voices that ultimately matter most. We'll take this feedback and we'll incorporate it into our document and plans going forward. I'm going to pass it off to Ms. Humbles for Ms. Little to introduce Ms. Little.
Oh, what is the next slide? You can pass this to me.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't. Can I say something? Sure.
Hi, everybody. Stand up.
Yeah, come on up.
I'm Ruth White, and I would just like to point out that 3 of the 4 students here are Academy students. And one of the things that we try to instill in students in the Academy is using their voices, that they have voices. And I think you've seen them use them extremely well today. I'm not saying this because I want you to applaud me. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've been to about 30 of these community meetings. So it's like treadmill to me. But these kids are outstanding, and I would like for you to notice that. I would like for you to know that they are Academy students. I would like for you to know that any student can be an Academy student, and we do deal with students from all levels. There is a rumor that has come to me that has really just made me want to tear my hair out, that only advanced students can be in the Academy. That's not true. But students who are in the academy can become advanced students. And we do have students who are not as bright as these students who are in the academy, and they help one another. I think that's important to understand because that's what we're talking about as well. So what Marquise said about our being over there all the time is true. We are over there all the time at all of the schools where we have academy students. And so I wanted you to know that as well. It's a two-way street, however. You know, we go and recruit kids, but we have to have kids who are willing to come and to learn. We have to have parents who are willing to say, that's a program that you need to be in, get over there and participate. Because once they participate, then, you know, we kind of have them, you know, locked in. The last thing I wanted to say is what Paris said about, well, two things really. One about PTA, which is absolutely on target. I don't have to say anything else about that. But whoever said something about email, I find it very difficult to understand why, if my kid is running out of lunch money, I know that. Because something comes to me and says, your child lunch account is at 74 cents, please send more money. And when parents need to know other things, we can't get to them. I mean, it strikes me as very, very odd. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. These are our kids.
Amen. Thank you, Dr. White. What I wanted to share with you was one initiative have begun as a direct impact of the Not Without Me. And with the Boys and Girls Club, and we had the Cedar Rapids Police Department, they have pop-up camps that are all around town, and that gives children activities to participate in. Also, collaborative efforts between community organizations. We have the Unsnapping group that goes into our schools that are working with African American males. And we also have the academy that is available to our students. We have the think tank. We had the youth empowerment forum that was held in Cedar Rapids. And Vicki Clark was involved, and Denise Bridge was involved with that. The church engagement, we didn't mention in May, we met with the pastors. We are asking them to talk to their congregation, to have the folks in their congregation come out to this event and bring their children. Our goal by putting these forums together is community and family engagement. That is really our focus. And one of the things we're really trying to get is parents, parents' voices. These are your children. Your children will become our leaders in this community. So if you guys will have another forum in July, encourage parents to come out, to be supportive. Because we are very supportive of the district, of our teachers, but it takes a community. And it's all of us need to become engaged in this process. And then individual efforts. And this leads, I don't know if you guys want to still sit there or move out this way. But I got it. Wait. And thank you all. Thank you very much. And I think what was really important, because this all began in February. February the 24th was our first forum. It was 30 below zero, and the wind was 60 miles an hour, and we had 120 people show up. It is really nice to see there are more, I'm seeing more parents and the teachers. You guys have been here anyway, because you guys are, I couldn't do it. But we were talking about community, become involved, engage, volunteering within our community. This is a person that I'm proud to introduce. She attends my church, not just because she attends my church. She's a former school teacher. And when she said, hey, we want folks to volunteer, she stood up to the challenge. So I'd like to bring up Miss Annie Little. She is a volunteer at McKinley Middle School. And I'm asking her to share her experience share her experience at McKinley and why it is important to volunteer.
Where do you want me?
What's going to work best for you? I'll do whatever you say.
I got a few notes. I made 3 speeches and then I said, hey, that isn't what they want to hear. So
You want me to?
I know I have what you need to hear, whether you want to hear it or not. Okay?
Can you guys hear
First, as I look out there, there's some empty tables, empty chairs. No, empty tables, but not full. Parents, we need you. Parents, we need you. Parents take care of discipline. Teachers teach. That's life. Parents take care of discipline. Teachers teach. If your discipline is bad, teachers can't teach. Now I'll get on with the story. Is my principal here?
No,
he's not here. Well, I have to say a little bit about Jason. He's quiet, a mover, and the most courteous person to kids. Jason, with me, I don't know what he is when I'm not there, but he always leaves the kids with respect. He treats them like they are a part of him. And I'm amazed, the kids cussing, acting a fool, and doing all kinds of things, and Jason is so quiet and calm. And the kids come around. And I met with him with several kids and on different occasions. But I got to share this with you. How many minutes I got? I got to rush. Anyway, what's on here may not be as important as this. I walked in the door to bring the yellow sheet, and we need a lot of these. In order to get 2 volunteers, you need 25 of these. People tell you anything. Then they go, I learned a new word here, not Alabama, Iowa. Awesome. 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 I never heard so many awesome do-nothing people in my life. I always wanted to be a comedian. I'm comedian in my old age too. So you're the victim. Now I get home with the story. I kind of mentioned Jason. So besides. I had a great time every day. And I went there with a packed suitcase for Hawaii with my granddaughter and 2 grandkids. And my other suitcase was when I get back to go to Nassau with my retired cops and teachers. I got over there and I got hooked. Jason is a good fisherman too. I walked in the door and he threw out the hook and said, here it is. The kid was the bait. You take care of it, and he walked away. I said, he doesn't even know my last name. He doesn't know if I've been to prison 4 times or whatever. But he smiled, and Jason doesn't smile much, handed me the kid. Anyway, every day was fun. And I became the bag lady. You know why? There came cookies and treats and this and that. And I didn't have to push the button many times. They look out the window and they said, Miss Annie drove up. And the door would be open and they said, is anything in the trunk? It's amazing what kids will do for chocolate chip cookie sitting on the table or a treat. And they tell the other kids, I want my cookie, sit down. Be quiet, let's work. But anyway, it was fun. And keeping them on task was rewarding and sometimes a challenge. But they never were disrespectful. Here comes the little old lady, her eyes isn't so good, she doesn't hear too good, and she's kind and loving. I never had so many. They say you can't hug in school. The kids hug me. You know, and pat the back, the good up. I met some Saturday and they run across the field and almost bowl me over. Kids want to be loved. But my message today isn't about me. It's about everyone here. And everyone that's not here, parents. Parents and grandparents, get busy, take over the life of your children, get them educated.
Yeah.
We have to be sincere and dedicated in this work. It's not about talking and warming chairs. The cause is the children. Come and help. You're wanted and needed. Let's make our schools shine. Schools shine. The school, if you don't know, it belongs to your kids. A lot of people don't know that. Schools belong to children. Without the children, there's no need for a building, a principal, or a good teacher, or a bad teacher, or a bad parent, or a good parent. Schools are about children. We need to realize children are important. We force them to come to school, to do this, do that, to learn, with very little input. They're counted at our mercy. Therefore, many of them are now rebelling across the world. Children are angry. Parents, listen to your children's story. I heard stories in 3 weeks that brought tears to my eyes. Get to know children. Get to love children. Get to understand children. Make school a happy, joyful place. When I talk, the kids say, "Where you going?" "Going to the party room." My room was a party room. We studied, we learned, but we had fun doing it. I never had a desk in my classroom in 25 years. I didn't need a desk. I made them invent the kidney table. I wanted to be where the kids were, and I wanted them to be with me. But teachers, parents, and everyone here, we got to create an environment for kids of learning, serving, and loving them. Then, when we do this, we can inspire them, we can challenge them, we can lead them, we can equip them, and we can help them to be somebody, be in a loving, belonging place, and know that education is for life. Every student was kind and respectful, even at lunchtime, which was a disaster in most schools and here too. Kids have not been taught how to go to the White House and eat with the president. You talk to the right, you talk to the left, you talk in front of you, and whatever else is going on in the building is none of your business. We need an army when schools start at lunchtime, and I would like to see at least 100 people around that school on both sides when kids come. Kids love us. I never was so loved in keep wanting to go to Alabama, and I didn't like Alabama. Iowa. And I'm not an Iowa. I'm an Iowa person because I have a license and a voter's card, and I got to study up on the politician. Oh, when volunteers come in, tell them where the bathroom is. I was kind of anxious, and I said to a kid, "This girl needs to go to the bathroom." Caught me by the hand, didn't ask for a pass, took me to the bathroom, waited for you to come back. So I'm going to wait for you because I don't want you to get lost. Every student gave me respect, no matter the color, the nationality, or what. Because I was kind, considerate, loving, but tough at times. You're treating the computer the way it shouldn't be treated. close it down and put it in the rack and get a book. You don't know how to treat a computer. Put it away. Okay, Miss Annie, I'm sorry. I tried always to be there for the student and the teacher. I didn't go there as a teacher, I went there as a helper. And that's what we are when we volunteer. If we help appropriately, she can teach. My teacher says I had the best teaching day of my life, my first day there. She was able to be with groups of kids, and she didn't have to worry about the other. There was 32 at one time, but normally around 20. I took care of the children out there. I challenged their mind with their project. One kid wanted to know about dynamite. And I said to him, why do you think people needed dynamite? He said, wow. Went and got his computer and went to work and did his project. He was sitting there thinking about why you need dynamite for days. But when you asked the right question, he was ready to go. Am I almost out of time?
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway, I wrote several speeches, formal speeches. I taught speech at one time to college kids. So, but parents, what we're here for is you and your children. Take over the life of your children. Dress your children properly. Tell your girls their body is a temple. Tell your girls to cover their bodies. Tell your boys to respect girls.
All right. All right.
People, we're losing who we honor. If you don't honor something, you will not have any respect for it. Parents, honor your school. Honor your kids. Grandparents, get busy. I know mommies are working 2 jobs sometimes. Be there for your children. They are what it's all about. And thank you for coming.
All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Glad to see you here. Do you know you make a difference? Yes. Every one of you make a difference. So I want you to give yourself a pat on the back for being here and participating. Everybody, we appreciate your being here. And we want to encourage you, next time, bring somebody with you. If it's a parent, if it's a child, bring somebody with you. Because this is a community solution. And you're part of the solution and not just part of the problem. You understand what I'm saying? All right. How many of you enjoyed what you experienced today and had a good time here and thought it was worthwhile? All right. Good. Good. I want you to understand it's okay to disagree without being disagreeable. Amen. Everybody has a right to their opinion. Their opinion doesn't have to be yours. You have yours. And you have a right to yours, but respect everybody else's opinion. Because everybody's voice does matter in this community. So your voice does matter in this community. Right? Right. All right. Now, as he was talking, I was hoping some of y'all thought about this, and I hope you're thinking about, what can I do? Make yourself a committee of one to be part of the solution. If you got time to volunteer, volunteer. Don't talk about what everybody else is doing and ain't doing. What are you doing? Volunteer. Volunteer. You got time to volunteer? Your face and your being there will make a difference. Amen. You know, this is a community. A community. This is our community, right? Yes. Each and every one of us is part of this community. All right. I want you to give a round of applause for Adam for being the moderator today. Give a round of applause to Miss Little for her passionate involvement. And again, I want to give everybody here a round of applause for just being here and participating, because you do make a difference. Now, you see the sponsors. Let's give a round of applause for our sponsors and understand you can be a sponsor. So if you decide today you got $500 to give, just give it. Or $100, $50, whatever it is, you can be a sponsor. Now I don't know who you are, but anybody can be a sponsor. So we don't want to take that away from you. You don't have to just come and just give your voice. You don't have to come and give your money. I'm one of those people, I don't have a problem asking for money. So anyway, but if you want to be, let us know. We'll find some place for you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm coming. Patience. All right. So again, if you have students in the school district participate, you're part of the solution. Don't just complain about what everybody else is doing, what the teachers are doing and not doing, what the school's not doing. What are you individually doing? Let's give a round of applause to our students. Now I have a vision, and my vision is that one day we'll start lifting people up and showing more the positives about people than the negatives. That we'll focus on the positives. We'll focus on, we got to do this with the media. That instead of showing all the crime, they show some of the good things that happen in the community. More of the good things. That we start encouraging and uplifting our children at our homes. And we don't just identify what the things they're doing wrong, right. That we identify the things that they're doing right. You know, I don't know about you, but I used to be a supervisor, and as a supervisor, I used to supervise other people. And one of the things I try to tell them, if I do an evaluation with you, and I start with the negative, what happens? If I give you one negative at the beginning, and I give you 15 positives, what do you focus on? The negative. So we got to stop jumping to the negatives. Stop jumping to the negatives and start jumping to the positives. And start talking about the things that are going well and things that we can do, the things that our students that are doing. Because there's some people that are doing some magnificent things. We got some cream of the crop, top of the top, and some stars in our community. And we got to remember that. So we need to do that. Our next event is when? July 28th. July 28th. We hope you're here. We hope you're here. Be here. But don't just come by yourself. Bring somebody, or at least invite somebody. Now, how many of you talked to somebody before you came and said, you got to go down here today? Let me see a show of hands. All right, so that's only part of you. So the rest of y'all that didn't raise your hand, so before you come next July 28th, tell somebody about this because they can be part of the solution, okay? We want to encourage the participants to spread the word around. Now, we do have some water, some cookies if you didn't get any, but we do have that. Do we have anything else that we need to say?
Well, and the goal is, first of all, thank you all for coming this afternoon. And I encourage you to talk to your friends that have children within this district or within your church and the community to come out and support this. We don't want to just talk. We want to come up with a resolution for this. And it takes each and every one of us in this room and the community to make a difference in the lives of our children in this district. So next time you come, grab a couple of parents or children and bring them to this event. So thank you all for coming. We're going to get out early.
We're going to get out early.
Yes.
Remember, it takes a village. You're part of the village.
Yes.
You're part of the village. Have a good day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.